Good evening. Welcome to a special Tuesday night episode of Soundtracks with Birdman. H. Boomer may or may not be in tonight. It depends on his busy schedule. You know he's a party animal with the young ladies. But I have Troy Pacelli in the house and Jedi Masters Utopia. How are both of you gentlemen tonight?
Doing well, thanks.
I am doing great. I'm excited to feel good after watching something for a change.
Yes. And thank y'all for doing this. Last week I was feeling kind of low and I was listening to the score to Air Force One. And I'm like, we just need to watch this movie and just have a feel-good movie experience.
Yeah,
so thank you for coming along.
It's good to see Harrison Ford a little bit younger, too.
Yeah, right?
Yes. And,
without a lightsaber between his shoulder blades.
Yes.
And I was thinking about those pictures from him on Indiana Jones set. He's not looking good.
He's not. Word on the street is stunt doubles filling in for all the filming. They're just going to like Photoshop his face.
I'd like to know how old is his stunt double?
Yeah.
I mean, younger. He's got gray hair, but he's younger. So.
But I also heard the most recent is that they've gotten as far as they could, and they had to shut down and wait on him now.
Yeah.
That's
I wonder if it's actually going to come out in June or not.
What's that?
But, I said I'm wondering if it's going to make the June release date.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I don't know about how any of these movies are going to... I mean, all of these movies seem to be stacked up on top of each other right now as they're being pushed off. And, you could get 5 tentpole movies released in a month. And, there's no room in the marketplace for them.
My concern is how, and this is just how my mind works. Is this going to cause them to extend Kathleen Kennedy's contract until this is finished? It's like every month that this Indiana Jones gets put on hold, she gets that much longer to putz around.
Yeah, I think that they're weaning her off the Star Wars. She's going to have less and less to do with it. If they give her a 1 or 2 year contract, it's just going to be to finish up all this other stuff and to be, the president emeritus of Lucasfilm. I
agree with you. In fact, I would go so far as to say her time having any say on Star Wars is pretty much done.
Well, hey guys, but before we get too big in the Kathleen Kennedy hate,
we'll save that for Friday.
Yeah, someone on this stream is Facebook friends with Frank Marshall, her husband, and would like to have him on a show one day. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's when you got to have Tom from Midnight's Edge on here to do his Congo impression for him.
Well, there he is. That's right.
Yeah, I would love to have dueling Congos.
I think if I ever got Frank Marshall on, I would just be like, let's do arachnophobia. That's a fun.
There you go.
And let me welcome the chat real fast. We have Sir Ian says he can't make it tonight, and it's one of his favorite Goldsmith scores. I agree. This is one of the better Goldsmith scores, especially in the '90s, hands down. Netters Network. Troy Pacelli's in the chat. How do you do that? Andrew, how are you, sir? No, the show did not change nights. This is just a special Tuesday night show. Troy was free. Zootopia was free. So we're just trying to have a fun show tonight. We've all been feeling kind of down lately. How are you, sir? I hope you're doing well. And Rebecca Martin's in the house. Hello, gentlemen. That's what she says. Hello, Miss Rebecca Martins. How are you? I must say your avatar is looking ravishing tonight. I can say that. She's my girlfriend. I can compliment her. So, anyways, Air Force One came out in 1997. Did y'all see it in 1997?
I haven't seen it since 1997, actually.
I've been trying to rack my brain to see if I think I saw it in theaters. I'm pretty sure. I mean that was like my prime movie going years. So I'm pretty sure I saw it in theaters, and it made a pretty good impression then. I just watched it again like last week, It's on Netflix, and so even before
It is on
Birdman contacted me, I had already watched it last week, so it brought back good memories.
I'm telling you, like this and Clear and Present Danger, I've been like bouncing between the two for like the past couple weeks.
I love Clear and Present Danger. That's a great movie. All those Tom Clancy books. I read all those books and seen all the movies. Now, I will say, what was the Ben Affleck one? That one was not at all faithful to the book and pretty bad.
The Sum of All Fears?
Yeah, Sum of All Fears, that one was my favorite Tom Clancy book. And Ben Affleck pretty much ruined that.
You know, I read The Hunt for Red October, and I'm like, this is all I can read for Tom Clancy. I'm just like, wow. I don't need a chapter talking about a missile. I just
That's what I liked about it. I think I was just like the first time I read it, I was like, oh wow, this is really cool how these missiles work. I remember Clear and Present Danger because they talked about that bomb that was made out of cellulose, and that was how they were faking a bombing, that the U.S. was faking a bombing. And so there was like a chapter and a half or something on whatever it was, 5.5 pages of this bomb, and I read it, and I was like, this is so cool, and just read it. It just fed into my little teenage brain.
Troy, did you ever read Tom Clancy?
I'm sad to say I have not. It is on my my wish
okay.
list, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. No, I have not.
You have to devote a lot of time.
I would imagine so. Especially the things I've heard about him as a writer. I mean, how realistic, he is, and how he digs into his subject matter.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of read like technical manuals for military equipment. Yeah. But I enjoyed that at the time, anyway.
Yep. But in fact, when I told Netter about this, that we were going to be watching this movie, she goes, "Oh wait, is that the one?" No, it's not the one. She thought it was what was the other one? Executive Action or
Executive Decisions.
Executive Decision. Yeah. She says, "Yeah, is that the one where what's his name gets thrown out of the plane?" No, it's not that one. It's the other one. Oh, okay.
The non-Steven Seagal one.
Mm-hmm.
And someone does get thrown out of the plane, though.
Oh, okay.
I mean, in this film, someone does.
When we get to the part, and I'll talk about it more, but I realized something that was kind of. I thought that was kind of neat of how it ended. So when we get to that, I'll mention it. But I was like, oh wow, that really does tie into kind of freedom and a message on what America is. So when we get to that part at the end, then I'll say it. But because when I watched it last week, I was like, I didn't pick up on it the first time I watched it.
An interesting thing about this film, Randy Newman wrote the first film score for this film.
Really?
I did not know that.
Yes. You got a friend in me. Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah. No one liked it. And it's on YouTube. It's on YouTube if you want to listen to it. I listened to it before the show, and I was like, okay, I guess this is okay if you don't know what the better thing you could have is,
I guess.
It's like you want door number 1 or door number 2, Troy, and you pick door number 2, and you're like, wow, like a Ford Escort. It's awesome, man. But behind the other door was a McLaren Spider.
I don't know. I'm just picturing about something like presidents have got no reason.
Yeah, well, it's worth maybe a listen to, but Jerry Goldsmith had 2 weeks to write this film score.
Wow. Well, he did a great job.
That's starting to sound like kind of a common theme, for some of these guys having to throw things together last minute,
Yeah. Well, he got Joe McNeely wrote about 25% of the film. He helped Jerry Goldsmith out, but they had 2 weeks to write this film score. And it does not sound like a 2-week job to me. This is, I think, one of Goldsmith's finest scores from the 90s. And definitely in the top 50 of his career. And you think, well, top 50? Yeah, the guy did over 200 film scores.
Yeah.
plus a body of TV work. So, I mean, definitely in the top 50, maybe the top 25. I don't know. I'm open to that debate. Andrew, what say you? Where would you rank this in Goldsmith's body? You don't have to give me the exact number, just like generally speaking. But yeah, 2 weeks to do this film score. I couldn't write a film score in 2 weeks. I think I could write one in 2 years. But the budget was $85 million. The box office was $315.2 million. It was the 5th highest grossing film that year. Titanic was number 1 with $2.2 billion. Lost World number 2, $618 million. That's quite the jump between number 1 and number 2. Men in Black, $587. Tomorrow Never Dies, $339, and then Air Force One with $315. So quite a successful movie.
So I've seen 3 of those 5 movies.
Have you not seen Titanic?
No, I saw Titanic. I didn't see the James Bond one that you mentioned.
You never saw Tomorrow Never Dies?
Nope. I didn't see any of the later James Bonds, unfortunately. I think the last one that I saw was I'm not sure. But yeah, once Timothy Dalton came along, I kind of lost interest, and I didn't get back to it when Pierce Brosnan came in. I
think Goldeneye is one of the best James Bond ones. The first Pierce Brosnan one. They seem to start out well. Like, I like the first Timothy Dalton one. I like the first Pierce Brosnan. I like the first Daniel Craig, and then after that, they kind of go downhill.
I mean, if you want to pull me in and force me to watch Timothy Dalton, I'll try to do that some week. But I'm not a big Timothy Dalton fan.
Well, I know Nanette doesn't like Timothy Dalton.
Yeah, she really doesn't. Yeah.
Doesn't like Timothy Dalton or doesn't like James Bond?
Timothy Dalton specifically. Yeah.
Specifically?
Yeah.
Hey, Sir Ian came back.
Welcome back, Sir Ian.
Glad to see you coming back. Question to you, because you're a Goldsmith aficionado. Where would you rank this in his body of work? Like top 20, top 30? I'm saying definitely in the top 50. I'd have to think a little bit harder beyond that. Let's see. Andrew's got a question. Wasn't James Newton Howard's score to King Kong recorded in like weeks? He replaced the Howard Shore score? I did not know that. That's a good question. I will look into that. That's fascinating. I tried watching King Kong, and maybe it just wasn't my day or something. It just struck me as very violent, and okay, call me a hypocrite. It struck me as violent, so I wasn't clicking with me. But I'm gonna look into that. I would not know why he would replace the Howard Shore score, especially after Lord of the Rings. I mean, you would think they would be like tight babies. Sir Ian says this is top 10 Goldsmith for him.
Wow.
Okay. What's your other 9? I have the hardest time coming up with a top 10 list of anything, because I'm like, does it have to be 10? Can it be like 15 in no particular order? I'm going to have to look up that Howard Shore thing on King Kong, Andrew. So you gave me something to think about. Y'all about ready to start this film?
I am absolutely ready.
Sure am.
Let me get to my Netflix.
But when I was watching this the other week, this is definitely a 90s movie. You can tell that it hits the same kind of beats of 90s movies, which is good. The kind of Independence Days and those types of movies.
Oh, play. Okay. All right. I'm at like the nothing mark. Where are y'all at?
You're at the nothing mark. Okay, that's where I'll be.
I'm at the 5-second mark. But I can go back.
Oh, and Sir Ian, thank you again for that Jerry Goldsmith CD you sent me. That's been in the car CD player since you sent it, and that's a delightful score. Take a long hard ride or take a hard ride. I'm really enjoying that score a lot. I would say it's comparable to the Cowboys by John Williams, and that's a big compliment coming from me because I'm a huge fan of that film score. Okay, I got the Columbia Pictures person.
Yeah, I'm right on her, like her torch is being lit.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's after Buena Vista International, huh? Okay, hold on.
I didn't get it. Buena Vista.
You're not on the Blu-ray?
No, I'm on the Netflix. Now I'm getting a Beacon Hill. I'm sorry, just Beacon.
Okay, yeah, Beacon Hill.
Yeah.
Has the score started for you?
Yeah.
Okay. I just went through Radiant Production.
I want Harrison Ford's name. Tell me when you get there. I'll press play.
Okay. There we go. Harrison.
Okay. We get Zootopia?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Han Solo and Dracula.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Han Solo and Dracula.
Gary Oldman just came up, and now it's going away, and up pops Air Force One. So that's where I'm at.
You know, this theme was used by a American politician during his presidential campaign, and he was told by Goldsmith's family to stop using it.
Huh.
Yeah, when I was watching this, I saw so many people that I didn't remember being in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so many people went on to do different things in different movies. It was. I even saw one of the guys who ended up being the Wishmaster, the genie in the Wishmaster. Remember that series?
Oh yeah.
So it was a little weird.
It's funny the way the rights on music work. I mean, to be honest, if you pay the rights company, whatever company it is, I think there's like 3 of them that own the rights to this music. You know, if you pay the right one and you pay those royalties, you get to use it, and estates and, you know, composers and stuff, and they don't get any say in it. Now, you can be nice and go, okay, well, you know, if the composer doesn't like it, I won't do it, but, you know.
Yeah, I was just talking to somebody the other day about how, because they didn't know that there was a song out there where Michael Jackson did a duet with Paul McCartney.
Yep.
And,
say.
Yeah. And that after that kind of caused a rift between the two of them, because that's when he was talking to Michael Jackson was talking to Paul McCartney, and Paul McCartney said, you should go out and buy other people's music and then have that, and then you can license it out. So Michael Jackson went out and bought the Beatles.
All the Beatles, yeah. Exactly.
So that caused a rift between them.
I understand that, but at the same time, it's like, well, Paul, why would you give out this advice when you haven't done it yourself, dumbass?
Yeah. But I know Paul McCartney was one of the first self-made billionaires in English history. I don't know if Michael Jackson ever quite made it to be a billionaire, but I'm sure
honestly, that's exactly why Paul McCartney was knighted, because he chose to stay in the UK and continue to pay taxes.
No, well, if only we gave out awards for the amount of taxes you paid.
Yeah.
Well, speaking about paying taxes, the young girl that plays Harrison Ford's daughter in this movie,
Mm-hmm.
do y'all know anything about her at all?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm going to completely blow your minds right now.
Okay.
She is a billionaire.
Wow, really?
Yes. She is part of, I can't pronounce it, but the Pritzker family.
Oh, gosh.
She's born in Chicago.
I know who that is.
Yeah. Well, when she was in college, like all other college students, right, who go to Cornell, or was it Columbia? Anyways, she sued her father for over $1 billion. That's million with a B. Saying that her cousins were somehow swindling money and they were giving away this $15 billion inheritance and all this stuff. But anyways, she later retired from acting and she's now a professional philanthropist. Which is those people who have so much money, they just give it all away.
Yeah.
Is her father JD?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
But anyways, if you are a philanthropist and watching tonight's show, hit me up.
Yeah, exactly.
And all my guests and all the people watching in the chat, hit them up too, because they're deserving as well.
You know, if you're gonna say that though, Birdman, maybe you should like put a tip jar or something in your descriptions. You know.
Oh, I doubt there's any philanthropists watching, but
PayPal type of thing or whatever.
Because I thought she was just like maybe like a child actress, but no, she's. And then she married like the grandson or great grandson of the family that started Montgomery Wards, and he's like equally as rich. And I'm just like, okay,
that's just crazy.
That's crazy.
It sounds like I chose the wrong profession, and I should have been a child actor.
Actually, what happened is you chose the wrong family to be born into. That's how some of these people are.
I don't know how I made such a poor choice like that.
Right, exactly.
And I'm not knocking anyone who's got money. I mean, you know, God bless them. And it's good that she gives money away. That's great.
So we're about to hit the part where Harrison Ford gives his speech. I assume you guys have all admired that speech before, because I think it's a perfect way to set the tone for the movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a great speech.
And they do a nice job of setting things up in this film, too, very well.
Yeah.
His relationship with his family, they set that up very well in about, 10 minutes?
And it's amazing. I mean, just I think it's just good casting. I mean, everybody who doesn't like Harrison Ford. So when you look at him, you like Harrison Ford, and when you look at him, you say, yeah, that's what a president looks like. A president would look like that. And then to when he can stand up to his staff and say, no, this is the direction we're going in. You kind of believe that of a Harrison Ford to be able to do that.
You know, I was watching Stephanie Janicek's stream earlier today, and she was talking about actors, and he was one of the ones she was talking about, just this natural charisma, this natural masculinity. You know, she mentioned him. She mentioned Clint Eastwood, John Wayne, you know.
But yeah, those are the types of people like he and Clint Eastwood. They don't get your attention by shouting. They don't get your attention by yelling. They get real quiet.
Yep.
And they expect you to get quiet so you can hear and listen to them. And that's commanding a room. You know, there's some people who kind of walk into a room and they're glad handing and shaking your hands, patting your back, and everybody just has a good time, when you're there. And then there's somebody like Clint Eastwood or Harrison Ford who walks in, and you all get quiet. When he walks in, you just want to listen to what he says. Troy, did you say what you're sipping on?
I did not. I'm just having a pomegranate flavored water because it's the work week.
Well, it sounded like you had a pretty good time on the weekend stream.
I have been told by Boomer I need to go back and listen to it because by the end of it, I have no clue what I was saying anymore.
Well, that's become your Sunday stream has become one of my favorites, if not my favorite.
Well, that's really Boomer's stream. I'm just there as his sidekick.
And this,
I think you enjoy your Friday night show, though, Troy.
Pardon me?
I enjoy your Friday night show. I don't know. I'm not always awake for all this. I'm
You
catching it like
you
Saturday
enjoy you
morning.
enjoy my Saturday morning show, right?
I do. I do. So this is what people do on Friday night when they're adults.
Right, exactly.
And I think that this is the first movie, probably one. I may have seen a movie with Gary Oldman before, but I don't think I really recognized Gary Oldman. I think this is the first movie where I was like, "Oh, that's the actor Gary Oldman." Because I think he did this one before the Bram Stoker's Dracula.
This was after.
Was it?
Yeah. Dracula came out. I was in high school, so it came out in like 92.
In fairness, if you don't actually catch these movies the year they come out, you could see them in any order.
That's true.
Oh, yeah. Well, and here, they filmed this and they put it out, and there were no plans for a cinematic Air Force One universe. Imagine that. They just wanted to tell a good story from beginning to end and make you feel good when you walk out of the theater. How weird is that?
Yeah, the guys over at Midnight's Edge have been talking a lot about that and this whole idea that if you can't make a pitch with some sort of a hook on how you can do sequels and multiple films, they don't want to listen to you.
I think that's gonna go away for films. It's not going to go away for streaming services, because streaming services want to try and catch you.
Sure,
But,
streaming service makes sense though, because then you're doing a series, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's a limited series, one season, whatever. But films, I'll tell you what, if Hollywood doesn't get their act together, you're going to start seeing more and more independents making movies. It's going to be the cinematic version of Comicsgate.
I can't. I think for the foreseeable future, the way they make movies, the economics of it is just going away. Yeah. I'm sure Troy. There are only two ways that you make money on a product: you increase revenue or you cut costs. And they're with the way that these movies are opening at less than $50 million now.
Yep.
The only way you're going to make money now is to cut costs. So there go the end games.
I was talking about this on Friday. Keep your eye on Disney. Under Chapek, that's exactly what you're going to start seeing.
Yeah.
That's why he's going to these 1-year contracts for the talent. The dollars are not going to be there anymore because they're not there at the box office. Things are going to be changing. Yeah.
And that's where this whole lawsuit with Scarlett Johansson. Mm-hmm. They want those actors and those directors. They're looking at it and they're saying, "Wait a minute! If they're cutting costs, there goes my salary."
Yeah.
And if they're putting it on a streaming service, there's no revenues after it, and they're scared.
And this was what I said. I said the irony is she's suing him when he basically agrees with her. He agrees with that business model, but he's going to use Shang-Chi to say, "See? Yep. People aren't interested in Marvel films anymore. Sorry, you're not going to make your money either way." So,
yeah, which has got to be driving Kevin Feige nuts.
He's going to be on his way out real soon.
I think
he's coasted too long on Favreau's coattails.
Well, but he's not interested in not being able to make a movie for $300 million. Yeah. I think that's what he wants to do, and he enjoys doing it. He doesn't want to make a Blade 2 on a budget.
And here, not only are the executives and the stockholders, but all the fans are going, "We don't need the big special effects. We don't need the big names. We need a good damn story already."
Yeah, start with that. Don't sign Brie Larson to a 7-picture deal.
Look at this.
Without having a plan.
We're looking at this film, and every person that you see go off screen, the character actors. Yeah. I miss those kinds of character actors. Now they got to squeeze in all of these, celebrity faces, that can be kind of annoying,
Yeah. Well, and you guys are watching Transformers tomorrow, right? I get it. It was nice to have Leonard Nimoy and Orson Welles in there, but did you really need it?
Yeah.
Did that make a better movie? I don't think so.
I think who's the guy that did Megatron? Frank Welker and Peter Collins. Just get them to do the entire movie.
Yeah.
I mean, they can do it.
I swear, when she got out of the car, I thought it was Rachel Maddow.
See, now here we come.
That's the billionaire right there.
Oh my gosh, she does look like him. If she was like, twice as fat, dark hair.
If I was a billionaire, I wouldn't care how fat I was.
I'm not sure. What is the name of the person who plays his wife?
Oh, is it Wendy? I bet Sir Ian knows. And this movie doesn't waste much time in getting everything going either.
Well,
yeah, that's one of the benefits of having a movie that has a beginning, middle, and end. It's like, you set up your characters, you set up the problem, you set up the conflict, and then you get right to it. And they do good. They do a good job of
Wendy Crewson.
Believing Wendy Cruz, but
Crewson. Yeah.
You believe Harrison Ford is the type of guy who wouldn't get in that pod, and that he would try and save his family and try and stay on the plane.
And Goldsmith gives us like a nice little family theme right here. One of the more quieter parts of the film score, but still important. Because Zootopia's right. I think if his family was on this plane, he probably would not have been as vested in staying. I'm not saying he would have run, but when your family's on that plane, it's like, yeah, I'm not leaving.
Even though I think that everyone else on the plane is right when they say, "Mr. President, it's time for you to get off the plane." I mean, they're absolutely right. For the good of America, you get off the plane. But
yeah,
he's not the type of person that would do that. I don't believe our current president would stay on the plane.
Yeah, see, I happen to be of the opposite mind, though. I would be of the mind, I'm just one man. We have a line of succession for a reason.
It's true.
I wouldn't have chosen my running mate if I, didn't think he could do just as good a job as myself.
And
but see, that's
in the movie.
Pardon
I think
me?
it's brought up very well.
Oh, yeah. Wow, she looks a lot better with her hair down. Doesn't look like Rachel Maddow now. Get out! Get out!
I would. That would be one of the things. Like, there are probably three things that are really cool about being president: is the Oval Office, Camp David, and having access to Air Force One. I just think that would. I mean, you got to love that plane. I mean, it's just. It just looks like it radiates power.
See, I was thinking executive decisions, but that's just where my mind went.
I was thinking a personal chef.
That is true.
Yeah, but you figure most of these people were rich to begin with, so they had personal chefs already.
Oh.
It would be nice to be able to wake up in the middle of the night and call somebody and have them make up a nice steak burger for you.
But honestly, I don't think there's ever been a president of the United States who wasn't already independently wealthy and took a pay cut to become president.
But I know Carter didn't have a lot of money. because I remember that they had to, like, stories about him having to, because presidents get charged for any meals that they have and everything. You don't get free meals and all that, so you get a
What?
monthly bill for
What? I don't get free food?
yeah. And I remember reading something like Rosalind Carter got the first bill and had to cut back on the ingredients and things that they were serving the president.
Wow.
I don't think the peanut farm was quite bringing in the big bucks. And I'm trying to think, because there was a time, like, even if you were an ex-president, you didn't make a lot of money after you left.
Yeah, I think that changed after Eisenhower, was it?
Because I think it was Truman who pretty much was penniless and couldn't get a job after he left the office, and so it was after that, I think, that they set up presidential stipend and all of that.
Plus, now you've got all the book deals and the the talking engagements, and
Yeah, I think it was Gerald Ford. He was kind of the one that first really monetized being an ex-president, because he started sitting on all these boards and everything, and all of these people wanted to have an ex-president on their board, and so he was kind of the first one to be able to do that.
I'm sorry. I just grit my teeth every time I see a Hollywood silencer. It just drives me up the wall, or fail to hear it, I should say.
Why is that? Because it's unrealistic?
It's incredibly unrealistic, and it does so much damage to the public perception of the way firearms work.
Yeah, Hollywood sometimes have to have their conveniences.
Well, I'm just so sick and tired of this. They want to ban silencers, and it's like, do you understand what silencers are? The only thing they're good for is protecting your ears. It's not like anyone is being assassinated with a little thwip thwip sound.
Yeah. Well, don't they also make them? They make the firearms inaccurate, don't they?
They do. Well, most of them do. Yeah.
No, we're
but
getting
the only reason you.
Action cue here, guys. That's absolutely fantastic.
Oh yeah.
And Sir Ian is right. It is one of Goldsmith's greatest action cues.
My other problem is firing guns on a plane. It's like, do you know how many of those bullets would have gone through the walls by now and the cabin decompressed?
That would be bad.
And I think that this is probably, I remember this scene when I saw it the first time, with the plane, them trying to land the plane and everything. That was a really tense scene.
Yeah,
and I thought it was very well filmed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not certain Putin would exactly go along with us to release some political prisoners if the Air Force One was ever hijacked.
Well, I mean, there's a couple scenarios there, right? If he sent them, he's not going to be playing ball, obviously. If they were rogue agents, he wouldn't give a flying fig. He'd say, kill them. It's their fault, exactly. Not mine.
Yep.
Actually, I was going to say, that's probably what he would say even if he did send them. Because if they got themselves in trouble, then he'd disavow them, and too bad.
Well, because this was Yeltsin the president of Russia at the time? Because this is obviously post-Cold War. So, I mean, we had relatively good relations with them at the time. it's hard to think he's been president of Russia. Got to be 20, 25 years now.
President, you mean?
No, Putin.
Yeah, he's president. Yeah.
Yeah. In the loosest sense of the word.
Wow, that's an interesting fact, Sir Ian. They used a air base in Ohio for Ramstein.
Hmm.
And the music for this cue is not very complicated. It's very repetitive, and it's got a lot of ostinato use in it. But it's really all you need for this. You just need it to keep driving forward.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those, I would say, 90s scores, but it's used very effectively, and it takes you through the scene. It takes you, and makes you kind of connect with it a little bit more, and just the big brass and everything.
Yeah,
it's just it's really good. I kind of miss the movies that had their own pop song.
Yeah. I used to get a lot of soundtracks in like the 80s because I loved that music. The summer, I don't know, teeny bopper films,
Yeah. Something like, what, Holiday Road?
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that.
Or like all the hits that came out of Footloose and
There you go, yeah.
Karate Kid.
Karate Kid. What a great movie. Everything you need to know about life right there.
Exactly.
Yeah, this scene with just almost getting the Air Force One down. It's really good.
Yep.
I just want to say something here. I saw this meme on the internet with the from the Boba Fett show, and it's got Boba Fett with Baby Yoda, and Boba Fett's like something about like if there's silly putty, why isn't there any serious putty? And Baby Yoda says that's called C4.
That's funny.
I like that one.
And people watching, I know it's not Boba Fett show, it's The Mandalorian, but
it was originally supposed to be Boba Fett, though.
Yeah.
When it was originally conceived.
Well, and that reminds me, do you guys ever watch Parks and Recreation?
No, I haven't. No.
My favorite, Ron Swanson may be my favorite television character of all time. And he hated government. And one day, this class of
jeez.
I don't know that the real Air Force One can do that, but it might. But this class is on a field trip to his office, and this girl comes in, and he starts ranting about government, and she's just eating it up. And like by the time he's done, she hates government too. And so he hands her a Claymore mine, and he says, "Use this to protect your property."
Wow.
And so then she grabs it and walks out of the
okay, you honestly can't get closer than that, and I think that the turbulence its wake would have actually buffeted that plane that it went over.
Yeah, and probably knocked those cars over as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, in real life, if the plane got that close to the ground, it was probably already going to land. But
yeah,
it made for a great scene.
And Troy, you're a fan of character actors. You got a whole bunch of them right here.
I know. I was just seeing Dean Stockwell was the first one that jumped out at me there. But I mean, he's just big enough that he kind of takes over the scene when he's there. Well, maybe that's just me, though.
So Dean Stockwell, he's Secretary of State. Am I remembering that correctly?
Say it again.
I actually don't know. Defense Secretary.
Defense. Okay.
I like how intense Gary Oldman can get.
Oh, yeah.
He seems like I'm sure he's like 5'2" in real life, but when he gets mad, you don't want to be the person that he's getting mad at. And I think at the time I remember them, like all the reviews were like, "Oh, you have a female vice president and all this, first time on screen or something." So I mean, they were doing strong women long before.
No, that never happened. Only the most recent generation.
Yeah, they're the only ones that have truly seen the light.
Big Al's in the house. Good evening, Big Al. How are
Hey,
you?
Big Al.
Hey, Gal, how are you? I think what was I remember excuse me. So executive decisions kind of came out at this time. I think this was a time like I remember Dave came out. Did you ever see Dave?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of these Washington presidential based movies that were their own kind of response to what was going on in Washington in those days. I'm trying to remember what was the one with Clint Eastwood and Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman was the president.
Yep.
And Clint Eastwood was the kind of the burglar thief. I forget what the name of that was.
I forgot about that movie.
That's intense. Jeez.
Well, and you got to think, I mean, every president has to go through that where they kind of realize that because of their position, their family is put in danger.
Yeah, but this would be a really, really different movie if it was about the Clintons.
Yeah, I think so too. He would have gladly jumped off that plane.
I dare you to kill her.
You won't kill her. I know you won't. But yeah, I mean the presidents have to go through that, and then I remember the Bush twins having to go through. They're going to college, and basically they have to be followed around all the time by Secret Service. So you're not really going to be able to live your full college experience, and it can be being the family. Even though you get to live in the White House, it can be pretty restrictive. And this is the guy that I was talking about that I think was Wishmaster. He was talking to Gary Oldman now.
Now I remember when I first saw this, I basically thought it was Die Hard on a plane.
Well, yeah, that's about what it is. That's a movie that I hope they never remake. Die Hard.
Die Hard. They were going to make a prequel, but Disney decided to kill it.
Thank you, Disney. The one good thing you've done for me this year. If that's part of Bob Chapek's cost-cutting measures, I'm all right with it.
And people in chat, Big Al Presents has been dropping quite a few reviews lately on his channel.
Yeah.
We want to go over there and check him out. He's very insightful in his reviews.
One of the things I super appreciate about Big Al is he'll do reviews about films that I'd never heard of before and wouldn't think to see if he hadn't mentioned them. I know I keep going to Ouija Shark, but there's others too that were much, much better.
I don't know. If I saw that title, I'd pretty much have to stop and watch it.
Right? In fact, Nanette and I said, oh, okay, now we're going to have to see this movie. And Big Al said, don't say I didn't warn you.
Wow. Do you know what I just noticed in this film?
Huh?
The picture they have in that conference room, I have above my fireplace.
Oh, nice. Well, I feel that one of the upsides of having 3 people in a chat is that 2 people can carry a show just fine while one of us steps out to the little boys' room. So I'll be right back.
Sure. Which reminds me I got to hit a like on the YouTube. I hadn't done that yet, so always got to hit a like.
Like, subscribe, share across all your social media platforms. Exactly.
But it's fun. It's fun being able to do these things and talk about the movies that you like and especially kind of the old ones, because if you talk to a 25-year-old, they probably haven't seen Air Force One, and having hopefully getting somebody inspired to go see that makes you feel good.
Yeah, I was talking to Rebecca today, and she said she thinks this is the most current movie I've done, and I'm like, it might be.
I mean, everybody has their first time watching Star Wars and the Marvel Universe or Back to the Future movies, but the best ones are, this one. I love the one where on Nanette's where they did the All of Me, which that was a movie that I'd seen as a kid and forgotten about and was able to watch again. Now as an adult, and just be able to, especially, Steve Martin was just awesome in that movie, just incredible. And having somebody who does movies like that, or Darby O'Gill and Little People, which I loved as a kid, loved that movie, and just about wore out the VHS tape on that. But going back and watching those old movies is just, I think it's more fun than doing a review of the latest, Black Widow or something. So I appreciate what you do on this, and what Troy and Al do on this stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate that. My sister keeps asking me, like, when am I going to start making money? And why do I do it if I don't make money? And I'm like, to meet people, to have great conversations, and I enjoy doing it. Yeah.
Well, the whole reason why I started listening to you and Troy was, I kind of started out with Midnight's Edge back in 2016 with their reviews of the Sony hacks, and so they were doing the Ghostbusters 2016 stuff. And
I remember those. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I think at one point they had professor on, Professor Geek, and they were talking about him, what great show or great channel he had. So I started watching him, and then started watching Troy and you, Birdman, and so I mean that's how I got involved in the community, and I'm glad I have.
And that's exactly it. I think any YouTuber is going to tell you if you're in it for the money, you're probably in it for the wrong reason.
Yeah. Hopefully you get enough to get yourself an extra bottle of Kraken.
That would be nice.
Hey guys, I just got crap.
You have to do what?
Oh, I think he's having some connectivity problems.
Oh, okay. He'll be back.
He just dropped out. We'll keep it going. Yep. Yeah, that would actually be nice. I actually had one listener who actually bought me a bottle of Kraken.
Great. What? So I don't even know, Troy. What got you interested in doing YouTube?
It was the professor too. Yeah, I started following him and being a big part of his community, and you know, I was really fired up about it. Joined his community and whatnot. I guess I kind of overstayed my welcome and went on to other things.
Well, you know, when I see, I mean, I watch Midnight Sedge a lot. I watch Nerdrotic, and you know, Jeremy and Ryan Cannell, and you know, they all have their own stuff that they go off and do. And, you know, they can come back and do stuff, but they go off and do their own thing too. And so, I mean, I think that's part of it is having this kind of growth and bringing in new people. And you know, you definitely have one person does one thing, another person does another thing, and sometimes you like it, and sometimes you want the other thing. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've definitely kind of found that you know, not all channels that talk about the same basic things are made equal. And over time, I've started to go, well, you know what? I just can't keep following this one, because this one is just someone who's just so negative. He's got to piss all over everything all the time. And yeah, I know it's bad, but I mean, you know, it was just bringing me down. So there's a lot of channels I've kind of weeded out. There are other channels that literally just exist to repeat what has been said on other channels. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be listening to that one anymore.
Yeah, I had one that I unsubscribed from, and because I listened to it, it's like I listened to him for 3 or 4 months, and then there was one video. It was an 8.5-minute video, and literally they said that it was a minute and a half, and then they just repeated the last minute and a half over and over. And I was like, this is boring. I'm like, I end up having unsubscribed from that one, but
I'm sorry. One of the channels you mentioned too is if they've got a 15-minute video, at about the 7-minute mark, I'm like, I'm done, because then they just start repeating themselves. Yeah.
You know, if you can get a good solid 7-8 minute video, I think that's what you want. I don't know what the YouTube algorithm is for monetization and all that, but you know, you should be able to put together a good 7-8 minute talk.
Well, what Valiant Renegade has been saying lately is, you know, once you hit that 1,000 subscriptions, then you need a certain amount of watch time, and that can sometimes be the slog, you know. Just because you have a lot of listeners doesn't mean they're listening to all your content all the time and giving you the amount of watch time you need.
So I assume that minutes count as to how much they're listening.
Yeah, just like you need to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark, there's a number of watch hours mark too. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I want to say it's like a 1,000 hours or something like that, or I don't know, something like that.
I've been thinking about starting up my own channel and just, you know, talking about the things that I enjoy too.
Sure.
I just haven't taken the step yet to do that, because I don't know what, you know, I listen to Fan Man. I really like Fan Man, and he just has this ability to be able to talk for an hour and hold my attention, hold people's attention. I don't know that I have that.
Well, I've got the ability to talk for hours, but not necessarily hold people's attention.
Oh no, you have it too, but you are kind of take pauses, and you know, you kind of let the conversation flow. Like Fan Man this is my opinion, and you know, I'm telling you what what do you want? So you foster, you have a different thing where you foster conversation.
I try,
people.
yeah.
So you have that, Fan Man is able to have that gift of gab of just constantly talking, which, they're both equally good and both interesting. You guys do two
quick,
different things. Yeah.
I wanna ask you. So refresh my memory. The president is ex-military, right?
Yes, he'd flown combat missions.
So he was a Zoomy. Okay.
Yeah. Because that's why I assume I'm not spoiling this for anybody, but when he's flying the plane and he's like, I didn't fly planes like this, and so they weren't able to. So he's not able to land it.
Just in case Stephanie Janicek ever catches this in the rerun, I'm not going to say anything snide about Harrison Ford flying and landing planes.
That is true. He has a history, at least 3 that I can think of. Crashing. I think he flies helicopters too.
Oh, okay.
So I think that at least 3 that I can think of crashing something. Oh, I was going to say one of my favorite channels that I really like that he's very positive is Quinn's Ideas. I really like him. I don't know if you've ever listened to him.
Is he the one that talks a lot about Dune?
Yeah, he does Dune. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he's got some sort of literary. He's either a writer or he teaches or something, and that I love Dune. I mean that's that, and
he knows his lore.
Yeah, so I think he must have some sort of literary background, but I really like that.
In fact, he was the one that was talking about going to see that extended preview for Dune and was talking about it. So when I was talking about it that one Sunday, he was the one I was referencing.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'm looking forward to the new Dune movie anymore now that they've kind of.
Do you follow Nerd Cookies?
I do.
Check out her last video about the swap on Liette Kynes.
I mean, that didn't bother me at first because that's not really a big character in the book. But I'm wondering how influential that is that they're trying to do to switch things out.
You should hear what Nerd Cookie has to say about it because she was spot on with it. She said, yeah, it wasn't a big deal, but then when he started talking about the why of it, kind of led me to believe that he, and this wasn't Vinny Villeneuve she was talking about. She was talking about someone else who was involved in that decision. And it's like, you just don't understand the source material then.
Because anybody who tries to tell me that the book Dune is about Chani and female empowerment,
I know.
Hasn't actually read the book.
They've walked that back. She's not the protagonist that they, from that one article, as they had said.
Because clearly Paul Atreides is the protagonist of the book. Now, you can argue, like I heard somebody, I think, complain and say that was supposed to be a white savior. Paul is not a white savior. Paul is a huge destructive force.
Not to mention he doesn't go the distance.
Yes.
Leaving it for his son to have to do.
Yeah. So anybody who says that hasn't read the source material either.
Or just listen to what the author himself had to say about it. He said that I was writing a cautionary tale about trusting in leaders.
Yep. Exactly right.
I can't help but think that when I look at Glenn Close in this scene, she's playing it the way she's directed. I'm worried about this situation, worried about the president and all this kind of stuff. But I'm just thinking that most of the vice presidents in my lifetime and even my mom's lifetime would be like, oh, I'm just waiting to hear that I'm getting sworn in.
Well, that happened a lot with, there were a lot of questions with Ford taking over for Nixon. At first when they were talking about resignations with Nixon and everything, because Nixon kind of tried to get Ford to promise to pardon him. Yeah. And so that was kind of the first moment where a vice president had to say, I can't be a part of this. I can't have those discussions. I can't be a part of removing a president because that is a complete. You are doing that for completely self-interested reasons, and so that's kind of where that's a real life example of what she is going through. She can't be the one to recommend taking away his power, and she can't.
Right. But at the same time, I mean, whose duty is it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the conundrum.
A lot of people would argue that Vice President kind of screwed us on the whole call for the seating the president, the new president. But that's just my take on it.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, the vice presidents just have to be very, very careful about that, because not only that, but I mean, you're chosen by the president to join a team.
Right.
So
he's back.
There we go.
Yeah, a little window popped up and said, "Phone getting ready to update." And I'm like, "What? No."
So
and did it update? I have 490 apps that had to get updated. I don't know how I have 490 apps, Samsung, but
yeah, you might want to. And there's also settings you can go into to not allow them to update if you don't want them to, or whatever.
So did I miss anything?
Gary
Oldman gave up. It's a new version. Gary Oldman just gave up and turned himself over.
Yeah, right, exactly. We're watching the director's cut, right?
Oh, okay.
Glenn Close said, "Shoot him down."
And get me a new plane.
Yeah, exactly.
I do like that. I mean, Gary Oldman actually shoots and kills people in this. He's not like the first time when he shoots the other woman, and I mean they kind of cut away, and it's like, oh, she might still be alive, but nope, she's not.
Well, and this is another reason why I draw the correlation to Die Hard. The villains kill people, without even pausing.
Sir Ian, did you like Contact? I have not seen Contact, but I know it's got an Alan Silvestri score that's pretty good. Did you like the film?
Oh, remember those phones?
Wow, Sir Ian's got a good alternate ending for this with a CG hippo loose in the White House. That might be interesting.
That would be her real father.
H. Boomer asked if this is the Regarding Henry rewatch. No, but we could potentially do that at some point in time.
That is a great movie. I love that movie.
And J.J. Abrams wrote that film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should stick to that kind of stuff.
I think he was in high school or something like that. And H. Boomer, I send you the link if you want to hop in on this. I mean, I know you're busy. This is your date night with your girlfriends, everything. I'm starting to rumor here.
But as far as I remember,
okay, Sir Ian says Contact was an okay film. So I'm guessing you actually read the book. That's impressive.
Yeah, I remember that one when it came out. It was pretty good. I thought the ending kind of fell apart a little bit.
All I know about Contact is the little skit from South Park where Mr. Garrison goes to look like David Hasselhoff or something, and start talking about Contact, and he starts throwing up. And anyways,
probably
Wow,
doesn't give you
Boomer
the
has
best
never
vision
seen
of
Air
what it's
Force
about.
One. Wow. Okay.
That sounds like something that I'm gonna have to correct that.
Yeah,
Yes.
maybe like run for president or something. Then you'll get to see Air Force One.
Nowadays, I don't even know why someone would want to run for that office.
Well, we've been saying for a long time the most intelligent people don't.
Yeah.
I think the one candidate that I most wanted to see run was Condoleezza Rice, and she said nope,
yeah,
nope.
Brilliant.
Yep.
And she's from like down the road from me originally.
Oh yeah.
Like, 2 hours away, in Birmingham.
Now I'd kind of like to see Candace Owens run, but that's not going to happen either.
So, Boomer, you got your package? Did you listen to everything yet? I know there was a lot in there.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the president called in on the general line. I would believe it either.
But there is, I'm sure there is a protocol for this kind of a thing.
Well, if you look at those computer screens,
Yeah, that's true.
This was made long before, and the cell phone, as you said. So I don't think it wasn't until the year 2000. I think George W. Bush was the first president to have a computer on his desk.
Interesting.
I think he was the first one to have an email address too.
But Donald Trump was the first one to have a Twitter account.
Yeah.
Can't we live without Twitter? I mean, do we really need Twitter?
I had gotten rid of my Twitter, and then I had to start a new account just so I could contact certain people. So I in quotes follow like 3 people.
Yeah, I at one point, my work made me get a Twitter to follow
Really?
certain things, but I have not used it. I don't follow Twitter. I consider Twitter if you can only communicate in 160 characters, you probably should not be communicating.
Oh, I don't even use the Twitter retweet part of it. I use direct message.
Yeah.
Sir Ian brings the point. The next couple cues are from Joe McNeely. As I mentioned at the start, Goldsmith passed off like 25% of the film to Joe McNeely due to the short time constraints of 2 weeks to score this entire film.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall for that conversation. Does he like play a piece of the score and say, this is basically what I'm going for? Here are these scenes. Can you do these for me?
Kind of, yeah. That's kind of how it works. I mean, what you do when you score a film, the film composer doesn't actually write every single note. You write what's called a sketch. You're like, okay, we want to start here and end here. I want trumpets and French horns and then some violins, and I want blah, 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 blah. And then the orchestrator goes and actually writes everything, and they come back and they discuss it, and you either say yay or nay or change it here, tweak it here. And then when you agree upon it, it gets sent to the copyist, and then they print it up, and they give the paper, and it gets to the orchestra. But even then, at the recording section, you can change it. The director can come in, or the producer can come in and be like, can it sound more like this? Can you drop that? A film score is very collaborative. Not just one person solely writes the entire thing. But like with this, like Goldsmith would be like, these are the parts I'm doing. These are the parts I need help with. These are the themes I'm working on. And Alexander Courage, who you probably know from Star Trek, Troy, was the
Yeah.
orchestrator on this.
Yep.
So they would all get together and like, okay, flesh everything out. And then Joe McNeely would come in and be like, okay, so it needs to sound kind of like this. And then Goldsmith would be like, yay or nay. So, long story short, complicated process, but yeah, you would just be handed certain parts. I'm like, I need you to take care of this. I'm taking care of that. Get with orchestrator, get with me. We'll hash it out. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. I could totally see a scriptwriter doing the same thing. This is the basic story I have in mind. This is what I, basically want to lead up to. Can you write this dialogue or whatever for me?
Yeah. And the same with directing, like Predator, directed by John McIntyre. The big assault on the compound, like kind of not quite the middle part of the movie. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was done by a second unit director. John McTiernan had nothing to do with that.
Makes sense. Nighty night.
Becca Martins brings up a good point. This music makes my adrenaline kick in, and so it should.
That's the whole idea, yeah.
It's just nice being able to think of a president doing heroic things, and fighting terrorists and going after the bad guys.
Honestly, I can't think of the last time I could imagine a president being like this, except maybe Reagan. Not at his age, maybe, but I think he had that kind of character that I would have believed it.
I mean, you definitely when you think of Reagan, you picture a cowboy.
Yep.
And so you could totally see him fighting the bad guys. Actually, you know what that reminds me of? You remember those Saturday Night Live shorts, the ex-presidents?
Yeah.
So when you said that, that's kind of what that reminded me of because Reagan was kind of the cowboy that was always pushing them out there to go after everybody. I'm going to have to look up and see if some of those are on YouTube.
I mean, before him, I can't think. Teddy Roosevelt, maybe.
Yeah.
Andrew Jackson.
Yeah.
And actually, I'd have to say Abe Lincoln, too.
The rail splitter.
Yeah.
Hey, Al, how are you? How's everything in your neck of the woods? And how's your family doing? So, Sir Ian, I'll pose this question to you. So Joe McNeely did roughly 25% of this film. Why do you think he doesn't get a co-credit in the credits? Music by Jerry Goldsmith and Joe McNeely. I wonder how much you would have to do to get a co-credit.
Gary Oldman does do a good menacing face.
Oh, he does. He's got one heck of a resting, menacing face.
I don't think he looks the same in any film I've ever seen him in.
No, he has this incredible way of just transforming himself.
And what was the movie that he won the Oscar for?
Darkest Hour?
Darkest Hour. I mean, he disappears behind makeup, and you after a while you think that you're watching Winston Churchill.
Yep.
And he's just excellent in that.
Al says she does like Harrison Ford. Who doesn't like Harrison Ford? I mean, stupid people? Not to make fun of stupid people, but who doesn't like Harrison Ford?
Yeah, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and certainly you're welcome to have it.
It may be, Yeah.
But I mean, you're gonna have to cite some reasons as to why you don't like Harrison Ford. I wouldn't understand. Someone said, I just don't like him.
That's like I've always said. You have every right to disagree with me. You have a right to be wrong.
Exactly.
And I bet you have never told your wife that, have you? Troy?
No, I haven't. I had to think about it. I wasn't going to just, answer off the cuff.
Now, has she ever said that about you, though?
I don't think so. No.
Oh, wow. See, now I was making a joke. Now I feel bad because you're all sweet together.
We kind of are.
That's a good point, sir. And he was just kind of helping out. Yeah. And I guess he didn't really write original music. He was just taking and adapting material. So, yeah.
Did Sir Ian ever list some of his other favorite scores?
Yeah. What's the other top 9 Jerry Goldsmith scores? I've been
Star Trek:
working
The
on
Motion Picture.
Top 10 dog movie film scores for like 3 months now, and I still can't whittle it down to 10. I think I may just do like the top 10. Here's my 15 pick.
And this is one of those situations where if a person turned themselves in, you would absolutely feel you wouldn't blame them for it. But when it's the president of the United States, he can't. He can't do that. He cannot turn himself in because that makes the entire situation worse, and it's bad for the country. So I mean, these are the kind of situations that we were talking about before, where you got to think about your family and what you're putting them through. No one would blame him if he turned himself in, but I don't believe history would look kindly on you if you did.
Okay, but here, if you turn yourself in, 1, you're going to get killed. 2, you have the chance to do something to end the situation, and if you turn yourself in, that chance ends right then and there.
Yeah, that's true.
Because if they get what they want, they're just going to kill everybody anyways. Everyone on that plane is dead unless you figure out a way to stop them.
True.
Yep.
Because I don't know any naughty people. I don't know if I can say the T word on YouTube. Any naughty people who got what they wanted and they're like, okay, y'all can go. No, that's not work.
That's true. But that's also the thinking of the people on the plane that went down in Pennsylvania on 9/11. They said, you know what? We're not getting out of this, so let's take care of this situation. Yep.
Good point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here it is. Sir Ian's list. It will change from day to day. I know what you're talking about. But Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Yep.
Patton. Blue Max, most definitely. Explorers. Rambo, First Blood Part 2. Yeah, I like that more than the first one and the third one. The Ghost in the Darkness. Okay. I don't think that's 10. Star Trek, Patton, Blue Max, Explorers, Rambo, Ghost in the Darkness. Okay, that's I'm counting 6 there. Air Force One, that's 7. Okay. Great Train Robbery and Legend. I think you got room for one more, my friend. How about the Russia House? Can I get a Russia House in the house tonight? Lionheart. Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I do love the Patton score. That's one that I don't think a lot of people talk about. That is just it fits that movie so well.
I was just thinking, how long does that battery last? Okay.
Same thing happened to my phone like 10 minutes ago.
Right, exactly.
Well, that's the only reason why you couldn't be president. Your phone battery doesn't last long enough.
Ha! Clever.
Sir Ian, do you have the expanded score for this film from Versera Band? And are you buying the Love Field release? Love Field that just came out last week.
And I thought that they did a really good job of setting up obstacles and having to have him overcome them.
Yeah.
And being able to do it so that the movie doesn't become repetitive, and it's not boring at all. I mean, you're actively engaged with that, and I think that's partly the writing, but also partly just you like Harrison Ford.
And I love little touches like he sees the milk, spilling out, and he's like, the fuel.
Yeah, Syrian, I have the deluxe edition for Air Force One too, and I'm gonna order Love Field. I just gotta wait for payday next month to do that. I've expended my resources on soundtracks this month already. Oh wait, the new month's tomorrow. Hey, look at that, so convenient. But no, I have to wait till payday. And hopefully, I will be going to Boston in just over a month to see John Williams conduct the Boston Symphony Orchestra.
Nice.
They're not doing film music; they're just doing concert works. But I don't care because he's pushing 90, and any chance you get, you better take it. Yep. Right?
Yep.
It's pretty clear that president or the vice president and all of them, they're kind of the stand-ins for the office or for the audience.
Yeah.
And you just kind of, when they're holding your breath, you're holding your breath, and when they're tense and that, then you feel tense, and it's a very well-crafted movie.
Yes, sir. And seeing John Williams conduct anything is a must. He was at Tanglewood for 3 performances this summer. He's at the Hollywood Bowl Orchestra this coming weekend for 3 or 4 performances. And then Boston Symphony first weekend in October. And then he's going to, closer to you, he'll be in Berlin for my birthday. But I will not be there. But if I can figure out how to live stream it or do something with a Zoom call for everyone, I'm still doing that. I got to figure out how to do that. Make that happen.
Yeah, I'd completely forgotten that William H. Macy was in this film.
Yep. I love that crooked smile of his.
That's the callback to the Han Solo days.
Yeah. Whatever happens. Yeah.
What did I read something the other day is that they got a new Air Force One redesigned and everything, and I think it was $4.5 billion.
Okay.
So there's one of those things, and you know that there isn't just one Air Force One, there's two. So whenever they buy one, they buy two.
Right.
There's a huge billions of dollars plane sitting out there in a hangar somewhere.
Now, do I remember correctly that the guy he handed the gun to is the Confederate?
Yes.
Yeah. That's
Although being from the South, I find the term Confederate to be offensive. You have triggered me, sir.
Jeez. You talking about that war between the states, the war of northern aggression?
Yes, that one.
I had a friend in college, and his sixth grade textbook still called it the War of Northern Aggression.
Wow.
Yeah. Although I also refuse to use the term Civil War. It was not a civil war by any definition of civil war. It was a war between the states.
What is the difference?
A civil war would have been if the Confederacy was trying to take over Washington and take over the nation. They weren't. They wanted to secede.
You're right. I'd never thought about it in that term.
Of course, now we live in an era if a state wants to secede, we're going, yes, please, go, do that thing, California.
Yeah, they're doing a pretty good job of trying to separate themselves from the rest of America.
Sir Ian brings up a good point that Wolfgang Peterson has a great sense of geography for action scenes. He is quite the talented director. Have you seen Dog Food, yeah. Sir Ian? I'm guessing you have. I'm just making an assumption.
You don't have to. The vice president's here.
Yeah, I'm not sure that having that press conference would be good for the country either.
Well, it's one of those situations where you have to determine, is it better to say something or nothing? You know?
Yeah.
Because after a certain amount of time, you got people speculating, then the rumors start.
And this was long before Twitter and Facebook and all of that other stuff.
Well, nowadays it doesn't matter because now Twitter and Facebook and all the others are going to do whatever the government tells them to do, and they'll shut down anybody who tries to say anything otherwise.
Well, actually, I think it's the other way around. It's the media and all of them who are telling the government what to do.
Well, they got something there too.
Sir Ian, Das Boat. Have you seen Das Boat?
I don't think I've ever actually seen Das Boat.
You know, it was like a mini series, and then they spliced together to make it into a movie. Critical Drinker did a bit on it a couple weeks back. If you watched his Critical Drinker.
Yeah, there's another one that's not on Twitter anymore as of today, or maybe it was yesterday.
Did he get kicked off?
Yep.
The Critical Drinker did?
Yes, he did.
What did he
For
do?
what?
Don't know.
He's not one of those guys that necessarily says bad things. I mean, he kind of has countertakes the stuff, but I don't remember him being kind of a bomb thrower or anything.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I also don't know what kind of content he'd be putting out on Twitter. So, yeah, I don't know. I just know that Tom Connors was saying that he's like, I'm trying to figure out how I can get in touch with him now because I only communicated with him through Twitter.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons, I can never be kicked off Twitter because I don't use it. So.
No.
Sir Ian brings up the good point that the submarine from Das Boat was the one used in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
No. I always love a good Raiders of the Lost Ark connection.
He says just as Indiana Jones comes back on screen here.
See, and the music hits at just the right moment. You feel good. You're actually inspired by a president. You're inspired by America. You feel good about yourself. That's what we're missing today. That's who's going to be able to be the next kind of president or leader in this country, is the one who's able to stand up and kind of marshal things and say, you know what? America does have problems, but there's nothing wrong with America that can't be fixed by what is right with America.
Yeah.
And we need to stop blaming someone or stop putting us all down and start we can come together by feeling good about each other, not about saying bad things about each other. That's just my take.
When you see an Afghanistan woman handing over her child to a U.S. soldier who she does not know from Adam, saying, "Take my child."
Yep.
She knows more about America, I'll say, than 80% of the people on Twitter.
Yeah.
Who are Americans.
Yep, you're not wrong.
But apparently we didn't learn from Saigon. We didn't learn from Korea. We didn't learn from... We just don't learn,
Yeah, I mean, saying you don't want to have another Saigon and you headed straight into doing the same mistakes, just kind of weird to me.
Right. Yeah, all it takes is one spark.
Oops.
Dive fast. Bank now. So, Birdman, are you plugged in? Is that how you're able to hold charge?
On the phone?
Yeah.
No, I'd start the show with 100% battery.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was because of a download. It wasn't because of battery.
Yeah, it
Okay.
was update, what system update or whatever it is.
Gotcha.
I didn't know that was happening tonight, so I was surprised.
Those things sneak up on you at just the wrong times.
But I like my new phone, but I hate the battery. It's a crap battery. I'm at 50% now. She's like every time we do like a long movie, like 2 hours, 20 minutes, or like, God forbid, 3 hours. It's like,
Yeah.
how is everyone tonight? That's great. Let's start film. I don't have the battery.
Yeah, I'm assuming that I sound okay. I mean, I'm just using my regular old laptop to be able to do this stuff. So
Yeah,
Yep,
you
you're
sound
fine.
fine.
I don't have any kind of special equipment or anything.
I don't either.
For
You don't
this.
need special equipment.
These kind of conversations between cabinet members, I mean, those have to happen. I mean,
Well, they do, but I have no doubt that they absolutely could say, under the circumstances, the president is compromised. Vice
Yep.
president's taking over until such time as we can ascertain the, the president's safety and, ability to return to office.
And, if the president had to go in for surgery, that's exactly what would happen.
It's exactly what happened with Reagan.
Yeah.
So this is not, an issue. Yeah.
Or if the president was in a coma, or incapacitated in any way, it falls to the vice president. And God forbid something happened there, it goes Speaker of House. And then from there, Senate Pro Temp. And then from there, I'm not quite too sure, but it's written down somewhere.
Yeah, it goes to the cabinet member in order of creation.
Okay, so Secretary of Defense first?
Secretary of State is first, and then
Okay.
Secretary of Defense. Which at the time, actually, Secretary of Defense, because it was actually called the Secretary of War when it was first created.
Right.
So it's actually a little bit down the list. So after like Attorney General and I'm forgetting.
At what point do we get to Laura
Secretary of
Roslin?
the Treasury. I'm sorry.
At what point do we get to Laura Roslin?
She was the Secretary of Education, right?
She was.
Okay.
Yeah. And she got quite the job promotion that day.
Well, that's the president. The premise of that show. What's the one with Kiefer Sutherland?
24?
No, the other one where he's designated survivor.
Okay.
So they actually do that whenever the president gives his State of the Union. They hold a cabinet member back and put them in a secure location, so that on the very off chance something happens.
That's how
They-
Jack Ryan got to be president, isn't it?
That's exactly right. Executive decisions, I think that was or executive orders, I think that was the book where that happens. But it's good, you finally get to this part where you have the showdown between Harrison Ford and Gary Oldman, which is exactly what you want to see for, an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And they deliver.
Wow. This is tense.
Yeah. Yeah. Shush, peoples. Shush.
Yeah, this is the nightmare scenario where a president has been kidnapped and his family's with him, and he still has executive authority, and so he has to give in. I mean, you can't blame him for giving in. And that's where you really want to see Gary Oldman get his comeuppance in the end. I don't even know if they still have a red phone that connects them anymore. That would be interesting to know.
I would have to assume there has to be, because they still have nuclear capabilities. We still have nuclear capabilities. There were too many close calls during the Cold War for there not to be direct lines.
Yeah. But you can imagine the stuff just taking place and all of the stuff. Her having to make a decision as to whether or not she's going to sign that.
Yeah.
Although I don't think that you need the vice president to sign it. It's just a majority of the cabinet, and if they decide the president is not competent, then we're not capable of carrying out their orders. Then that's what they decide.
My back.
That's a heck of a prison.
Yep.
Hello.
Now it's all dark.
I moved my bedroom.
Where the magic happens.
Well, we won't discuss that on YouTube. This is a family-friendly show.
Well, I just meant where you do card tricks and stuff like that.
Oh, okay, sure. And where I like read comic books
There you go.
and play with dinosaurs.
I can't even I can't even pick up a comic book anymore. It just depresses me.
Yes. Let's talk about happy things.
Yeah.
Troy has a depression show. This is the happy show.
Superman 79.
Yeah. Awesome film.
And a great comic book that just came out. Check it out.
I haven't seen the new CW show Superman, but everything I've seen about it or heard about it says that it's really good. So
I'm not bothering because just like every other CW, it'll be good for the first season, maybe two, and then it'll just.
I'm gonna have to wait till it comes onto streaming so I can watch it. But hey, if all I get is 13 or 15 episodes of a good Superman show, I'm all for that.
Sir Ian said this is the same prison used for Shawshank Redemption.
So Mansfield, Ohio.
I've never seen all of the Shawshank Redemption.
It's a good movie.
I've seen bits and pieces on TBS and parts on YouTube.
It's a classic.
Oh, nice. Brrrt. Yeah, saw that coming. Yeah, there always has to be one. Oof.
He did his job,
Yep.
Yeah. And when you watch this, you get the sense it's not just they're not just doing that for the president; they're doing it for him because he inspires the kind of loyalty.
Yeah, because I get the impression that there are certain presidents that the service would not have taken a bullet for.
Yeah,
certain recent presidents.
Sir Ian, when can you come on to do Star Trek 3? Because we had penciled you in for that. October is shaping up to be the Omen month on Soundtracks with Birdman. We're doing Omen 1, 2, and 3, followed by the remake at the end of the month. So if you could do like Star Trek 3 sometime in September so it doesn't drag on to like next year. I feel bad discussing doing a show and then it's like next year before it happens. I would feel really bad about that. But let me know if you're free maybe next week or the following week. Shout at me, let me know.
The Omen, I think, is the second scariest movie of all time. So that one definitely affected me just after The Exorcist.
If there is a movie,
any of the Omens.
If there is a movie that I would love to see get the in quotes special edition treatment, there's just a few scenes that I think could be tweaked really, really well.
Now, this scene right here is available on YouTube with the Randy Newman score attached to it.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's okay. Okay.
I can't imagine what that would be. I got your wife with me. I got your wife with me.
It's not quite like that, but it's not the Goldsmith score. I don't know what they thought when they gave that job to Randy Newman. That would be like asking me, like, "Hey, Birdman, you want to coach a professional football team?" Sure. Where are the
What-
bats at? Maybe not quite that bad, but it seems like such an odd choice.
Maybe he was working cheap.
Yeah, but you've got to pay him, and then he's paid. They don't use it, doesn't matter. He still gets paid. It's like Lord and Miller. They got paid to not direct a Star Wars film.
Oh,
Then you just gotta pay someone else to
clever.
come in, redo it.
And pull the chute.
So do you have your best get off my plane imitation?
I bet Troy does.
Get off my plane.
There you go. That's actually really good.
Yeah, I almost slipped into Clint Eastwood on that one.
See, I think we need Air Force Two. Oh, Air Force Two: The Quickening.
Yeah, right.
Have I told you my my theory about all Part 2 should either be like Air Force 2: The Quickening or Air Force 2: Electric Boogaloo?
Yeah, exactly. I happen to have liked Electric Boogaloo.
I don't think I actually saw either of those movies.
I loved the soundtrack for both of those movies. They were both pretty good dance films.
This guy I almost feel bad for.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to freedom. I'm getting out of here. And instead they just shoot him.
Yeah.
I do like the chorus that Goldsmith brings in here.
And from a story point, I mean, this is even worse of a loss for them, right? Not only did you not get him out of prison, now he's dead.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a stand up and cheer moment for America.
Yep.
And the Russians are happy too. See?
Yep.
All right. Hey, they made it out real good.
And you know what? I don't know how international law works on something like this, but technically he was trying to escape from prison.
He was.
I love that. I love that camera just twirling around. Everybody's cheering. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Never jets.
But yeah, this is where the military or the Air Force training comes back.
Right. I was watching a YouTube video with a pilot who was talking about this, this whole idea of talking someone down. And he's like, it takes a very special skill because you have to be able to imagine what the cockpit of that particular plane looks like, be able to describe what to hit, what to do.
You mean
It's
it
not
isn't
always
like,
that easy.
like the movie Airplane?
Yeah, no, it's not quite like Airplane. I mean, I suppose to a certain degree it kind of is, but it's not quite that easy, yeah.
So like the main bad guy in this film dies and there's still 30 minutes left in the movie. That's
Right.
kind of interesting.
Well, and that brings me back to what I said at the beginning, when I was watching this, of something that I realized about this is that so Harrison Ford kills Gary Oldman, and they get rid of that external threat, but the real threat is the one from within.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's kind of that was kind of like something thematically. I was like, see, that's what you really need to watch out for is the person from within who's trying to destroy you.
Yeah.
So that was my genius revelation. I don't know how genius it was, but that was when I was watching this. I was like, because
Well,
like
that's the kind of thing that a lot of us have been screaming about that for a long time, and now we're kind of feeling like it's too late.
Yeah, I don't know where, I don't want to be too down, but this is a weird time in our country.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping and praying that we're going to have that leader that stands up and says, you know what, America is a good country. We are good people, and we have done a lot of good in this world.
Well, we had that, but too many people didn't like his tweets.
Yeah. But there has to be the next generation. I'm sorry, but Joe Biden, I am sure, is going to be the last baby boomer president.
Yeah.
And there's got to be somebody from the next generations that step up and say, you know what, I grew up in the 70s or 80s, and this country was great then, it's great now, and it's doing great things, and we shouldn't be ashamed of who we are. And we may have problems, but we also have solutions, and we can move forward. So I'm looking forward to that leader.
See, I feel like it's got to be not make America great again. It's America is great. Now get your head out of your ass.
Yeah. I'd try to put a little bit more positive spin on that, but I agree with that.
Sir Ian brings its point. This sequence was scored by Joe McNeely.
See, I may not have the ear for it, but can you tell the difference of hey, suddenly there's the switch?
Yep.
It just sounds different. It's like I can't quite vocalize it. Maybe Sir Ian can in the chat. Like, I was watching, for some reason, YouTube threw up decent proposal clips to me the other night, for some reason. And, guys, stop wrestling. And, I heard the score. I'm like, is that John Barry? That sounds like John Barry. And I Googled it. I'm like, sure enough, it was John Barry.
Wow.
It just sounded like
and
John
there's
Barry.
another one taking a bullet for the president.
Yeah. The special effects don't quite hold up in this over the years, but
I will again say that doesn't matter. It's the story that matters.
Yep, you're right.
And if they wanted to cheap out on special effects, I'd be more than happy if the story was there.
Hey, how are the special effects in Doctor Who?
Well, that's exactly it. For years, it was terrible. But it had some great, great stories. Star Trek was the same way.
Yeah, Lost in Space sucked. Special effects. I enjoyed the hell out of that show. I still do.
Yeah, they had a good composer too, by the way.
Yeah, John Williams did a lot of work on that.
That's what I meant. He did both of the themes for that show.
Yep. And then Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea had a theme by Jerry Goldsmith.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me.
And then Sir Ian said, if you think you're invested in the story, you can forgive some iffy special effects. It's very true. I mean, Lord of the Rings was fantastically made, but if they had botched that story, it would not be the same film.
Well, and I keep saying, you don't need these big dollar stars either. I mean, who knew Harrison Ford before his first movie? Who knew Christopher Reeve before his first movie? Everybody started
Reeve
somewhere.
Made nothing on Superman.
Yep.
Yeah, I kind of prefer when they go after. I think I was talking this before about putting in celebrity voices for stuff, but when they're able to find somebody like a Christopher Reeve who comes out of nowhere and plug those in. I like that better, but
Yeah.
but I mean, you look at this movie. I mean, this movie was made by Harrison Ford. I mean, Harrison Ford having that kind of gravitas
Oh yeah.
makes you believe. It's that kind of that's why like casting directors are really really important. And when your emphasis is on diversity rather than who can do the role, you lose something.
Yeah.
Because then you're not, it's just like in business. If you lose your focus on what your business is, you can lose. You can lose customers. You can lose your market. I mean, any number of yeah. Go ahead.
You know something in Zootopia? No one ever went into business to fail.
Yep.
But people who are in business and think they can't fail have a good way of ending up failing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pride goeth before the fall.
Well, Disney thinks they know better. They think they can choose their own audience. And maybe for a time they can, and maybe for a time they can go through that, but eventually, hopefully Bob Chapek is going to do that and say, look, you guys are not creating stories that people want. So we're going to give the people what they want. Because you can't look at the box office of Star Wars. I mean, as far as I know, there are no Star Wars movies in production.
Yeah.
And they did not spend $4 billion given that money.
I can guarantee you that High Republic movie that they were going to be doing is not happening.
No. I mean, I think that aren't they doing some of the Disney Plus movies based on those books? I think those are going to not do well. And
if they happen, yeah, they won't do well. But I'm not sure that they're even happening.
And that's what they buy Marvel, they buy Star Wars because of the creativity of the people that made them, and then they bring them in house, and all of a sudden they want to change everything about it, and it just doesn't make sense. I mean, they literally bought Star Wars because Bob Iger said, I want to get, we've got the Disney princesses who bring in the little girls. We want something that's going to bring in the boys. And then immediately they go to the Force is female.
Yeah.
And that makes no sense. That sort of direction just doesn't make sense to me.
Sir Ian brings a point. Kevin Costner was originally slated for this film, but he was attached to the Postman at the time, and he recommended Harrison Ford.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And
it does seem like it'd be a good
Jerry Goldsmith was supposed to do Starship Troopers, but that project didn't quite work out, so he had an empty spot on his calendar, which allowed him to do this in 2 weeks. I know I keep pressing that point. This score was done in 2 weeks. It's an amazing score to do in just 2 weeks.
Well, sometimes when you're under pressure, it's amazing what you can get done.
You can, like that term paper in 12th grade, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I have my orders. I don't think they outrank me, pal.
This is letting the press sit in there and listen to everything.
Yeah.
I don't know that would happen. Although, obviously they're a good stand-in for the audience.
I think that'd be the best way
that's
to do
just
it,
woof.
So would either one of y'all do that?
Damn right I would.
That would be so much fun.
Hell yeah.
Well, especially when you consider it's kind of a life and death situation. Probably. Given the alternative.
But even if you fall and fail and die, at least you can say that's how you died.
Now, do you think he could survive this with a gunshot wound to the chest?
There's a lot of variables that I would need to know before I could answer that question. Not least of which being caliber of the bullet. Was he wearing a
It would
vest
have
of
been
any
a 9mm
kind?
if he was hit with the H&K, so that would have been a 9mm.
Okay. Was it straight on? Was it deflected? Is the bullet in him now? Does he have a collapsed lung or not? I have to assume not if he's up and breathing.
Oh, Surian's adorable. He would be carrying a few extra kilos of fecal matter when he arrives on the rescue plane.
Yeah.
Yep, it's the threat from within. That's always the more dangerous one. And yeah, I guess William H. Macy's still a couple of years from Fargo.
Yeah.
That's the movie where I,
Yep,
noticed
you're getting
William
off this
H.
plane all right.
Surian, this is Goldsmith right here, right? This isn't Joe McNeely, is it?
The president's a kite.
And this is why he had to shoot everybody that was left, because he had to go down with the plane.
Yeah, this is probably not the best CGI rendering right here.
It's not, but it was a pretty accurate depiction of how a plane would crash, so I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah. And yeah, then the only thing left is the cheering and the score to come up and let everybody know that they can exhale.
Do you have the president? Well, kinda. Give us a minute.
Do you guys want to do Clear and Present Danger next Tuesday?
I'm more than happy to do that. I love that movie.
On Tuesday? Sure.
Do you like it better than Patriot Games?
Which of us are you asking?
Either are.
I actually haven't seen Patriot Games, so I'm going to have to go with yes.
To me,
I think. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Zootopia.
I was gonna say I think I like Patriot Games a little bit better. I think I like, first of all, Sean Bean's in it, which anytime you can get some Sean Bean is good, and he does a great job in that. And I like that ending a little bit better than I do the ending of how they ended Clear and Present Danger. Neither of those books are faithful, or neither of those movies are faithful to the book, but I think Patriot Games if I had to choose.
I like the score better to Clear and Present Danger. It's just a bit more upbeat American happy score. Patriot Games, I would put that in James Horner's Celtic music film score a lot with like Titanic and Braveheart.
Uh-huh.
And tonally they're completely different film scores. Completely different. What is it, Addison?
And by the way,
It's right. Great ending, no messing around. President saved. Glorious
Yeah,
final
I
verse
agree.
of the score.
I agree.
that's what I was gonna say. Beginning, middle, and end, and we're done. We're the plot's over. We're done. Walk out of here feeling good, and that's what you do. Then got that great score that leads out, and you walk out of there feeling America.
And Great Britain, Sir Ian.
Yeah.
And Canada. Y'all are
Well, I
cool
was
too.
going to say, back when America, really actually, cared about their allies and stood by them.
Well, Sir Ian, we here at Soundtracks with Birdman do still care about Great Britain and all you fine people in Great Britain. God bless you.
Yep. I'll be talking more about that on Friday with Matt from Bud Boy Entertainment as we do our second transatlantic special.
Well, that's exciting. Isn't he moving to the States?
He will be. I'm thinking he's hoping to have that done by year end. So that's why, if you listen to his live stream on Saturday morning, he was talking about sending out a package for us. We sent him quite a bit of money because it's expensive. We can't get Kendallmint cake here in the States, so he bought a whole bunch of it and is shipping it out to us. And he was talking about it on his show. He's like, "See, I got these big boxes." I said, you better stock up on the things that you won't be able to get when you come over here.
Sir Ian says, great to hear USA all the way. Yes, USA all the way. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so this kind of falls into those movies like Dave and that just make you feel good.
Yeah.
About and the American President. I like that movie up until the very end. That kind of say, you know what, sometimes you can get a good person to be president, and even when they have adversity, they can overcome it.
Yeah. I really like that movie. I gotta be honest. It's very, very implausible, but I did enjoy it.
The American President?
Dave.
Dave. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you're not going to be able to fool everybody like that, but it's just kind of, hey, what happens when an ordinary guy confronts the problems of a presidency or of a
I don't
country?
know about that. These days, you better believe that's the president, even if he looks completely different. And if you say otherwise, you'll be banned on social media, and you're a denier. You got to believe the science.
Yeah, it's social media has just changed everything and how we interact with each other. And as much as because of social media, I'm able to meet guys like you and have fun doing this stuff. But man, there are some people that can use it for bad things.
Yep, and they definitely are.
Well, thank y'all for both coming on tonight.
Thanks for having us.
I just wanted to have a feel-good movie with a great, I don't know if I want to say Americana film score, but yeah, I'll call it an Americana film score. I'll label it as that, probably. But yeah, if y'all are up to same time next week, Clear and Present Danger, I'm down. Cool. Yeah, 7 or 7:30, y'all.
I'm good either way.
But either one is good for me. I'd have to look at my schedule. 7:30 might be better for me, but
okay, cool. 7:30.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. Sorry, I got a dog that wants to go outside. So
okay. We're
doing Transformers tomorrow night. The only Transformers movie that is in existence. It came out in 1986, and it's a cartoon. Don't change my mind because you can't. Normal time. Yeah, normal time 7:30. If you haven't subscribed to Troy's channel, Troy Pacelli, he does the show every Friday night. Always entertaining. It's slanted towards adults, but that's okay.
It really is, because by the end of the show, you may not be able to understand me through my slurring.
And as always, adopt, don't stop, keep listening to great film scores. Thank you, everyone who came by tonight. It was good to see everyone on a Tuesday night. And we'll be back tomorrow night. And see you soon, Sir Ian. And I will get your package in the mail very soon. I didn't make a trip to the post office. Thank you, everyone, for coming by. Have a good night.
God bless America.
God bless America.